This. Can you stay straight, please? Something my dad said to me. Okay, it's not behaving. Hey gals, it is Rujazzle here, and it is my birthday. I'm an old bitch. Now, for the past couple of years, I've made my birthday month of February a little bit special by doing an art/drag photo series with my friend Juniper Lovelace, aka Lovelace Visual, who also has their birthday in February. Now, it's no secret that I'm a massive art nerd, and creating the many art looks and series over the years is a highlight of my drag career. It's helped me understand what kind of drag I want to do. And on a side note, it's also helped my parents kind of respect what I do more and help them realize why I do drag. I do believe that drag has the power to entertain, but also to educate. And I do hope that anyone who follows my work gets to experience the same love of art that I have. Since 2018, Juniper and I have curated and shot over 100 images together, and sadly we cannot do a series this year, so we decided to have a little conversation here on my YouTube channel and give you gals some insight into our collaboration and all that behind the scenes tea, so enjoy. Hello Juniper, how are you?
I am fine. I am not busy because I took a day off, so I've just been doing drag stuff today. It's been lovely. Can you believe that a year ago we were doing the announcements for the Glasgow Drag Awards exactly 1 year ago?
I know. February is always like a very busy month for us both, and yeah, like the past couple of years we have spent the entire month and most of January as well doing lots of photos together, so it feels quite strange not doing it this year. Yeah. So can you remember when we first spoke about doing the art series together?
Yes, I can remember. I have really good memory for those things. We were, after Amanda Tucker, we were at the Four Corners McDonald's. So on the way out, you commented with me like, you know, I have an idea. I don't know if you would be on board, but I always wanted to like do a series for my birthday and do like 28 days of our history, and I wondered if you would be like up to doing like photography for that. At that time I had only like started doing photography for Amanda Tucker, so I wasn't like I didn't have like a lot of experience, so I thought it was a great opportunity to, you know, photograph every day for like a while. Photograph something that I love, that is drag, learn more about art, and I kind of like you, so spending time with you was also like a plus.
Kinda. I will say, like, when I first spoke to you about it, I did not expect for a second that you would come on board for the entire month. I thought it might just be for like a couple of them, so I was really happy when you were down to do the entire thing. But that's kind of the way you are as a person. You're kind of like an all or nothing, and that's why I love you. I don't think you were ready for what was gonna happen, because I mean, especially with that first one, we spent hours and hours and many like very late nights doing like 3 looks in one day, and it was really stressful. By the later series, I think we kind of got it down to like a system where we planned everything out, and we would have like a day where we would like make the looks and then another day where we would shoot them. But that first series was very chaotic.
I think we were both finding our like foot, but then like doing this, you never done like a whole series of photos before. I haven't obviously done anything like that before, but I do think it kind of like worked, because I am very like focused when I have a project from like inside like my mind. There is no possibility of me not completing something. Once I say to myself I will do it, for me it's like I will do it. It's over. Like, I don't care like what length, what will take, but I will finish this. And I think this kind of helped, because even when you were like, oh, I'm tired, I'm like, no, we need to finish this. We need to like do this by this time and all this. But it was a bit chaotic. There were things that we were doing on the day that we posted it. There were days that I had like, I took the day off work and then I went to meet you in the afternoon. We shot that. And then in the evening it went like on your Instagram. That was crazy.
But
Yes.
you know what? We managed to get it done both years, and we've done other series as well. What would you say are some of your favorite images that we created over all the series?
I'm gonna start with the very first picture that we shot, which was Girl with a Pearl Earring. I like it a lot because, you know, we had some like reinterpretations and some recreations. I think the recreations, sometimes they are a bit more like popular because the person can recognize that thing immediately. And I think that was one of like a really good recreation because the vibe was there. Your face was placed exactly like, or in the position exactly like the girl like from, you know, the painting. So I think that one was a really good one. And that one was so fast. Like we had lots of images to shoot. So I arrived at your house. You were like, okay, let's do this one first because it's like the more simple makeup. And it was like, boom.
In that first series, we didn't have any like box lights or any kind of lighting equipment at all. So we were just using the lights in my hall and trying to position them to like work on my face correctly. So we had all those lights swung around, making it work. And I think we managed to somehow capture that like Vermeer lighting style. I know like it's mad how that was our very, very first one, but just through pure luck, we managed to make it work.
That first series we did on zero budget. We had like no money at all. And at that time, you were working less in drag, so you also kind of like didn't have like a budget yourself. I think it was beginning of 2018, so I had like just started with like working after like my post-grad, and then I was still like paying for things, so none of us had money. So it was a moment that was like literally like zero budget. Like we couldn't buy anything. It was like, let's make do with the things that exist around the house.
There was lots of props made out of cardboard, lots of like pretty rough looking wigs. We just kind of made it work. I mean, like for the V&A series, we actually were given money by the V&A to put it all together. So that was different. But yeah, for that first one, it was very, very different. I would say another one of my favorites from the first series is, of course, Klimt. I think that's both one of our absolute favorites that we made. And I think, again, it was a recreation rather than a reinterpretation. And I think we really managed to capture the essence of that original painting. We spent a long time, or rather you spent a long time, making all those little pieces for the backdrop, all the little kind of Klimt style motifs.
That image was one that there is no like Photoshop there. We very rarely like do backdrops as like Photoshop stuff. Like mostly we like create things out of like paper and whatever exists in the house. So that one, like we took a dive in your kind of like garbage of like paper stuff. So every like gift bag and all of this that had, I don't know, something sparkly, we took all of those, and I was cutting that thing for like hours to like put it on the backdrop and stuff. So it was like a lot of work. All your jewelry was made of paper. So that one was a favorite that in opposition to the Girl with the Pearl Earring, that one was like work. It took us like a lot of work together. It was like hours of preparation. And, you know, also that makeup is not so simple because it's like very minimal, but you have to achieve a certain look. So it's also not trivial.
What would you say are your favorites from the second series from 2019?
I have a list here. So I like Hannah Ho a lot. I think Hannah Ho is one that I liked because it was like fun to make. We went to find like magazines, you know, in the shop, and then we would like flipping through them and like cutting things. So it felt in a way like a bit like preschool work.
It did.
You know, like
yeah. When I was choosing artworks for the series, I wanted to include ones that are like well-known and iconic, but also artists and artworks that are lesser known but important for the story of art history. And Hannah Ho is one of those. And I really love that style of Dadaism with all the kind of the collages and kind of things cut up. And as you say, like it is very, very humorous. And also it was a nice break for my skin not to be covered in makeup. What did we use to glue it? Was it just duct tape? I can't remember.
I think we tried with latex, but it was like destroying the paper.
Yeah.
So I think we end up like just using duct tape.
I mean, that's one thing as well, that with so many of these photographs that we created, the look was held together with a wish and a prayer. and I had to stand so still with you gluing things to me, and I could not move until we got the shot, because if I moved, it would fall apart.
There were so many times that I took the picture and we had like 5 pictures to choose from, because by the time I clicked for the 6th time, it was like falling apart. So that had happened.
My personal favorite picture that you've ever taken of me is the Van Gogh sunflowers. Although it might not necessarily like read as Van Gogh straight away, because it's not got that kind of distinctive Van Gogh brushstroke, I think it kind of captures like the essence of Van Gogh. It's kind of the beauty and the sadness, and it's very bright, but also there's something quite creepy about it. I mean, that was literally just a jacket turned back to front, and then I had some fabric on my head with some flowers. There weren't even sunflowers, that were literally daisies with the center painted black to look like sunflowers.
Kind of like trying to make do with that like piece of fabric that was actually like a dress that you cut in half and used like one part for like a shirt and one part for like a headpiece. I was painting the kind of like daisies black to be like, well, they kind of look like sunflowers. That was like a fast one, and I think that one was like great because it captured the mood and the atmosphere of Van Gogh without needing to be like that much on the nose. And coincidentally, Van Gogh is also my favorite painter. So I mean,
we have a connection on many levels.
But I don't know, I find it very like fun. I remember by the time that we ended like the first series, we had a photo shoot in the museum. I remember by the time that we finished everything, we're taking like the Uber back, and it said like, you know, it was like fun to work with you. We could work together like in the future sometime. I'm like, yeah, it worked. So you say that it was like stressful and everything, but I don't remember the stressful. I only kind of like remember the like really fun stuff.
I mean, that's kind of what your mind does to you, that when things are always more stressful at the time, and you'll always look back on it with slightly rose-tinted glasses. I think on the whole, we had lots of fun. It was mad how that after each series, like something like really exciting came from it. Like obviously after the first one, I got to do that BBC featurette thing for Loop. And then of course for the second one, we got to do the V&A thing, which is amazing. Let's chat now about which ones were the most troublesome to shoot.
I think Ducro was a especially hard one because it was like based on like a painting, of course, but also like on a meme. Yeah. And if you didn't get exactly the same position, it would not read as the meme. And because of this, we had so many shots like, okay, lower your chin, turn to the right, turn to the left, to do this, do that. So until we got it right, it took us ages. At the time, we were like very impatient, being like, oh, I can't do this anymore. We're like, okay, let's, it would work in the end. And it did, like after, a few tries. So that was a hard one.
And I think one thing that we both learned doing these series is that the way that people are presented in paintings a lot of the time is not physically possible by human body. They're so twisted and like it's just never gonna happen. So we had to find ways.
Like Michelangelo was complicated because like had some like things stuck to you. So we're like, please take this picture because I don't want to be naked. Was a funny one also.
When we did David by Michelangelo, I literally was completely naked and I just had those bits of paper duct taped to my body. And obviously like Juniper and I are close, but not that close where I'm willing to just like be full frontal. So we tried to do it in a way that was safe, definitely. Another one that I remember being quite troublesome was Ophelia by Millet.
The background was like troublesome. It was like things were always falling. We had to put things into the right place. It was like, and probably it was one of those days that we shot that really late at night. So I think it's also the fact that we were trying to like pin things to the wall at like 1 a.m. And we were both like, please, let's just like go to bed.
I mean, for the second series, we definitely amped up the production value. We had more money, we had actual lighting then. We kind of like learned from our mistakes in the first series. The very, very last one we did, which I think, did we shoot that in your house? I think it was the Damien Hirst with the skull.
I was gonna say that one was the day of my birthday party. Like I had like a small birthday party as I usually do, not this year though. And you said like, no worries, I'll arrive to your birthday party in that look. We shoot that in like my tiny studio. And afterwards, like I'll shower and like de-drag, and then I'll like proceed to like actually go to the party. So we arrived at my house with like a full face glowed with gems, and then we shot that, and then you like went to have a shower.
I think I maybe started my makeup around about 12 noon that day because I had to do like a full bald cap. I went through like packets and packets of gems, glue them all to my face, and yeah, that took hours to do, absolutely hours.
I think every shot that included other people had like additional complications because, you know, you add more people, you know, contribution to the chaos. The last work or recreation from the first series was keep Haring. And to do that, you had Harry and October with you. And we had to paint all of you yellow. But the thing is, we had like no budget, no anything. And you had like one little snazaroo pot for 3 people. And it was obviously not enough. So by the end, like the yellow was running out. Everybody was dressed like, you're finishing with the yellow, I still need to paint it. It was kind of like complicated. And it was like 3 people doing makeup at the same time in your flat. It was kind of crazy.
With all of these, it always kind of worked out in the end. I don't know how we managed to make one pot of snazaroo stretch to like 3 full body paint for 3 people. And again, other than the odd like background color change, these were not like photoshopped at all. Everything as you saw it was the way that it was.
I think it's because 2 things. First, I'm not good at Photoshop. So it's, you know, I'm not a retoucher. So usually when I take a picture, I do everything to try to get it right from the camera. If you look at the camera, like, okay, this is right. For many reasons. One, because, you know, I kind of like to get it correctly. And second, because I'm not great at like post-production. Of course, you know, adjusting light, you know, color balance and all this is all like simple, fine. But there's people who are like, oh yeah, there is a brick background behind you and there's a person, I'm gonna erase this person from like a non-solid background. I can't do that. So I usually don't even try.
Do you have any that were like your personal favorites, but you didn't think got enough love?
It's not necessarily my favorite, but didn't get enough love for the work that we had or that I had, because it was hokusai. Because I recreated like the wave and I cut that with a Stanley knife and it took me like 4 hours. And like nobody cared. I wanted to say like, you know what, this was work, please like this. So there were some things that, you know, like I put a lot of effort in and you put a lot of effort in, and they were, people kind of like didn't like necessarily. But I don't mind that much. I know that Instagram is very like crazy temperamental. There are pictures that we took that were so simple and everybody loved them. It was like very much liked and shared, and we were like, oh my God, this took us 5 minutes.
Another one of my favorites is from the first series, and it's the Malievich, a very like groundbreaking and controversial moment in art history where we had an entirely white canvas. Yeah, it was trying to kind of recreate that emptiness and the whiteness, and I think it's quite a haunting image. It's one of my favorites again that we created from any of the series. So before we finish off, let's have a chat about a very exciting moment in, I think, both of our lives really, and that was getting to exhibit artwork at the V&A in Dundee. I can't remember exactly. I think it was maybe sometime in the summer of 2019 that I got the email, and it was the Courtauld Institute were putting on an exhibition at the V&A and wanted us to create some new work by taking artworks from their collection and then reinterpreting them in our own way.
When you spoke to me about it, you were even doubtful that that email was real, because you're like, I got this fantastic email, but I'm not even sure that this is real. So I searched for the person and everything, and they actually exist. Because it, you know, one of those things that is like kind of like almost too good to be true. So I was so excited. And the nice stuff is because they were paying us, which means that, you know, we could use some of that budget, or, you know, most of that budget to actually make things happen. I think from that, my favorite one is Van Gogh again. It feels like the painting kind of like invaded you, but stopped in a way. So it's still like partially Rue and partially like Rue plus Van Gogh. And I thought that was really gorgeous, and you know, there was like a meaning to it. You're like, you're yourself, there's like some art that is like part of you. So that I thought was nice, and I like the way we shot it. It looks a bit dreamy, so I really like that.
I love that one as well. I think all of the Van Goghs that we've done, because we've done I think a Van Gogh every single series, because obviously it's our favorite artist, and they've always been like our favorites of the series. I think I've always enjoyed getting to do more androgynous or more kind of masculine looks in the art series, because it's one part of drag that I like exploring, like both sides of my gender. In a lot of the works, like I think especially when we did Newman in the second series, or we did Rothko in the first series, they're almost quite like vulnerable images, and I think they are quite beautiful in their own way. I really liked the Nicholson that we created for the V&A series, which again took hours to get that makeup right, because we were so determined
Nicholson was so much work, because we are trying to convey a straight line into a canvas that is like curved. So you have to paint, you can't paint just straight. You have to paint like in a curved way to counterbalance the other curve. It was so much work, and we wanted to get it perfect because of many reasons. I think it's because it was like, this is the V&A. We can't like half-ass this. We can't be like, you know what, this is just for Instagram. It's 3 a.m, let's go. It took us so long. It was one of those days that it was like a Thursday at 2 a.m. and we were shooting, and I had work the next day. So it was like a heavy day, but I don't regret this at all, because I love how it turned out.
And again, like, we didn't know how these were going to be exhibited. We didn't know whether they'd be printed out or whether they'd be projected. In the end, they were actually on 4 kind of large screens in the V&A. I think the way they ended up looked so good. And I think one thing as well that was so special to me about the V&A series was that my parents came up to Dundee, and they came to the exhibition, and I think it was like very like special for them getting to see my face and like my like creations in an art gallery, because they know that like ever since I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do. Although I do remember my mum saying to me, "Is your hair that short now?" I was like, "Yep, I did shave it off for these looks. I was in my living room with Juniper with a shaver, shaving off all my hair."
So you see, I do so many things like, am I a photographer? Am I a hairdresser? Am I a drag queen? Ooh, we don't know.
Are you my therapist? Yes.
That's what friends are for. They cut your hair, they take your picture. Also, for me, I come from science. I'm not, you know, my profession, my day job is not being an artist. So, but I always loved art. I never thought I could like make a career out of it. So, you know, I also love science, so I stayed in science. But the fact that I could do something so fantastic, which is having a work exhibited in the V&A, having done this is absolutely mind-blowing to me. It's like one of my hugest achievements. It was so cool. And you know, I'm also very thankful to you, because during this art series, I think one of the things that happened the most is you gave me a job to do that was something that I had no idea how to execute, but I ended up doing it. I'm more cautious and you're a bit more bold. So you'd be like, why don't you recreate this like hokusai wave? I'm like, I don't even know how to paint it. She was like, well, I mean, figure out, you will make it. And I end up like figuring it out. So lots of times I'm like, no, I can't do this. And you're kind of like, just go there and do it. So I think this was one of the things that I couldn't have done this by myself. So I'm like really thankful there.
I'm so thankful to you giving up all your time and all like your energy for all those days and weeks that we spent shooting all these looks, and the time that you spent editing them as well. Like, I really appreciate it. It really like made us like really close friends. And I think we both learned so much through doing it. And especially like doing other series together, like the Amazing Women, and we did the Trash series as well. I think like it expanded our own knowledge. I think you were right there by saying that we kind of learnt to make something from nothing, which is a very drag thing. And I love that we can, especially in the Trash series, we're like, right, here's a bin bag, let's make a giant bow, let's make a ruff. let's make a jacket, let's make a whatever, and we just made it work. That's something that like I will always have it in my drag repertoire. And as much as many of the shots in our series have like maybe not aged that well, that we can maybe like do them better nowadays, I'm proud of like every single one of them. And I think creating these things is definitely like a highlight of my drag career so far.
And also, to be completely fair, that kind of the reason I studied drag was because of this, because I was in the background of you, like I did like props, and then afterwards when I learned to do some hair, I did some hair for you. So I was kind of like being your helper towards so many things. And because we were always together, sometimes when you toured and I was free and it was a weekend, I went there as your assistant. Because I helped you so much with the series, I became like a good assistant. Because if you'd say, get my lashes, I know exactly where they are. Because of this, like I became a good assistant. And I think because seeing so much like of drag from like the background and all this, I kind of like fell in love with the, not only from observing it, but from the point of view of like doing that. So, I mean, it is like one of the main reasons why I started drag. So thank you, Rujazzle. You made another drag queen.
Look at that. It was your drag training. It was Rujazzle School for Girls.
Rujazzle School for Girls.
You have to be an intern for 2 years and then you get to graduate and be your own. That's how it works.
I think it was this, like I was an intern for a while and then I graduate.
Who says my interns don't go into bigger things? There we go. Thank you so much, Juniper, for giving up your time once again to my shenanigans. Where can the children follow you on your social media platforms?
So you can all follow me on Juniper Lovelace. I'm Juniper Lovelace on every platform, but I'm mostly active on like Twitter and Instagram. And you can also follow my photography page, which is Lovelace Visual. So there you can find, pictures that I took not only of Rujazzle, but other fantastic drag queens in Glasgow, including Loris Cheney, including Ellie Diamond, including Transgender, including Petit Moore and Oktoberfest and CJ Banks, and
all the legends.
So all the legends. Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you all support Rujazzle. Go to her posts and like things from 2 years ago, please. Give her all the love.
Well, gals, what she said, you can go and stalk all the art series on my Instagram, and that BBC Loop documentary is highlighted here on my YouTube channel. Thank you all for supporting my work as always, darlings, and let me know, do you want some more arty stuff on this channel? Do you want recreations of the art series looks? Do you want a video of me talking about art history? Do you want a paint splatter dress tutorial? I can be the drag version of Art Attack. Let me know. But yes, thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow my socials, and most importantly, have a lovely day. I'll see you all in the next one. Mwah. Bye!